So you've been busy working away, moving your crypto assets off your Ledger device and your MetaMask, moving it all over to Coinbase because you're keen to lock in those profits since the market has been moving up so aggressively over the last few months. You kind of eagerly moving your assets and sending it over to Coinbase, and then it dawns on you, you've made a mistake. You've sent your crypto assets over to Coinbase on the Binance Smart Chain, and we all know that Coinbase will only accept ERC20 tokens on the Ethereum chain. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through how you can recover your lost funds. Let's roll the intro and get right down into it. Okay guys, this is going to be a slightly different video tutorial today. Obviously we normally talk about technical analysis or crypto news. This is going to be a tutorial where we're going to walk you through how to recover funds if you have, of course, got them trapped on Coinbase on the Binance Smart Chain. So as I said, historically, anyone who has sent crypto assets over to Coinbase on the Binance Smart Chain hasn't had any way to recover these funds. It wasn't until I think January, February of 2024 that Coinbase actually added the Binance Smart Chain to its recovery program, meaning that millions of dollars that have been sent incorrectly to Coinbase via the BSC can now go ahead and actually reclaim those lost tokens. This is something that I have actually already done, and I'm going to walk you through how I did this and how I was able to recover thousands of dollars that I had accidentally sent to Coinbase over the last year by accident. And this is a great way to recover any potential lost funds that you have got trapped. So what we're going to do is we're going to need to do this on a laptop or a desktop computer. You probably could do this on a tablet like an iPad, but I would avoid trying to do this on something like a iPhone. I think the screen's going to be way too small. You need access to a few different things, so it's going to be easier if you have a bigger piece of real estate, such as the G9 monitor that I have in front of me. But anything of around kind of 11, 12 inches should be enough to kind of get you through this tutorial, right? And again, you can leave all the jokes in the comments down below. I'm sure you guys will. So I've got my Coinbase account. Okay, so this is the first thing that we need to do is we need to make sure that we are logged into Coinbase. So make sure you do that. That's one tab. And then we want to head on over to the bscscan.com. Okay, this is going to be used to find all the transactions or transaction if there's only been one. In the case of this tutorial, that's all I'm going to focus in on. We're going to find the transaction on the Binance Smart Chain scanner, and then we're going to use that information to recover the funds on Coinbase. Okay, so all the links for this will be in the description down below, so do go ahead and check those out. Let's go ahead and start things off. We're going to head on over to our Binance Smart Chain scan just here. Okay, and the first thing that we need to do is we need to get the wallet address where we sent the funds from. Okay, so I'm just going to grab my MetaMask wallet here. I'm just going to copy this. Also happens to be my ledger. I'm going to paste this into here and we're going to hit return, right? This is going to load up all of the transactions that have occurred on this particular wallet. Okay, now in the case of my example, it was 239 days ago that I sent a couple of $1,000s to Coinbase incorrectly. So what I want to do is we're going to want to go searching for those records, right? So the first thing we do is we come over to here where it says token transfers, BEP20. We're going to click that. That's going to show you essentially just the BEP20 transfers, and it's going to make it a little bit easier to read. If we scroll down here, we can see view all BEP20 transactions. We're going to click that. That's going to load up a linear list essentially of all of the transactions. We'll scroll to the bottom. There's a show rows. We're going to make this the maximum 100. Okay, and then you can go through all of these and you can change the pages at the bottom here until you find the correct transaction. I've already done this, and I'm going to shoot on down here into, is this the right one? Let me just check. It is not, but I already know the page number. So I'm going to go ahead and jump on over to page 8 for my example here. And I'm just going to remove these off here. We don't need those. Right. So if I scroll down this list, I have a transaction that I incorrectly sent to Coinbase on the Binance Smart Chain. It's this one right here. It was for $2,940. And so this is the transaction that I'm going to basically look to recover on Coinbase. And actually, this is the transaction that I have successfully recovered. So I'm going to show you the process, and I'll show you the confirmation that you get, or the error message that I now get, where it shows I've already recovered this. So the first thing that I'm going to do, now I've located the transaction, is I'm going to right click on the transaction hash here, and I'm going to open it in a new tab. That's going to give me this piece of information here. It's going to give me the transaction hash, which is this one at the top here. We're going to need that. And if we scroll down here, we can also see the to address. Now, in some cases, you might find that the to address for USDT in my case, on Coinbase has changed. This is why I'm going to be using this rather than just going to my Coinbase account and grabbing my usual deposit address, because the deposit address on Coinbase can renew and can change. So we're going to use the to address from the actual transaction that we found on the Binance Smart Chain scanner. Now, of course, if your transaction is really new, then you won't have to do as much searching. Obviously, for me, this was 238 days ago that I made this transaction. So just bear in mind that you're going to want to make sure you grab the information from the transaction itself, not necessarily from Coinbase wallets and things like that. So I'm going to right click also on this to address here, and I'm going to open that in a new tab. So for reference, I've got two new tabs open. I've got the transaction itself, and I've got this new tab here, which basically shows me the to address and where it was sent from and all that kind of good stuff and the value of it. Okay, this is really important because this allows me to monitor the situation. Okay, and it gives me all the pieces of information that I need in order to recover the funds on Coinbase. So the next thing we're going to do, in the description down below, there is a link to coinbase.com/asset recovery, and there's a little hyphen, I guess, in between asset and recovery in the URL. So this is the URL. Use the one in the description below. It's the official one. Don't go logging into any dodgy Coinbase recovery URLs or websites. The one below is the one that you want. Ultimately, if you go to coinbase.com regularly and sign in first, as I did here, that's why I had this portfolio open. If I do that, then that's going to automatically understand that I'm already logged in by the time I go to the page linked in the description below. They should not have to log back into anything for the asset recovery. There's no seed phrases or anything like that that you need to put in. Okay, very important that we cover those basic risk management kind of situations, right? We don't want to get caught out trying to recover funds and end up losing even more funds doing so. Use the correct URLs and the correct websites. So now we've kind of got all the information that we need. What we need to do is click continue. And for some reason, it kind of comes up with another continue button. We click that and it'll finally take you through. I guess there's a kind of glitch in with some of the warning messages that are popping up on Coinbase there, but it's a minor thing. Anyway, this is what you're going to be presented with. It says, let's find the transaction. Select the network, enter the transaction ID and the Coinbase address that you sent the tokens to, or your tokens to. How to find these. There's lots of guides and tells you how to do it, but ultimately you're watching this tutorial, so it makes it quite simple. We've kind of already done the legwork, right? We've got our Binance Smart Chain, our Binance Smart Chain scanner. We found the transaction, and of course we found the sent to address, right? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come to the transaction hash, and we're going to copy that. We'll come over to the Coinbase recovery. We're going to go ahead and go to BNB Smart Chain. We'll click that. We're going to come to the transaction ID. This is the hash. Okay. And so we're going to paste that in. And then we're going to come down here to the Coinbase address, which I have on the little scanner here, filtered by token holder. I'm going to copy that. And I'm going to come on over and paste that in. With all this information pasted in here, all you have to do is click continue. It will find the transaction, and then you'll be able to basically recover your funds. When it finds the transaction, and obviously this is the part I cannot show you because I've already recovered my funds, but what you would want to do here is basically confirm that you're going to recover the funds. It will ask you for two things. It's going to ask you for a fee for recovering the funds. So Coinbase is making money out of you incorrectly sending your funds to them on the wrong chain, on the wrong network. So what they're going to do is charge you a fee. I think this was 0.0045 ETH. Okay, so it is paid in ETH. And then you have to pay a network fee also in ETH. Okay, so it can be a little bit expensive depending on how much you incorrectly sent to Coinbase. Okay, in the case of me sending $2,900 over to Coinbase, I was quite happy to pay, I think it was $50 or so, to essentially get back my $2,900 that I incorrectly sent. However, if you're only trying to recover $10, it's not going to be economically viable for you to try to recover that $10 by spending an additional $50. Okay, so just bear in mind there are going to be some fees associated with you recovering your funds by this method on Coinbase. For the most part, though, this process is really straightforward and it's really quite simple. Once you get the correct transaction hash and get the correct sent to address, you basically just give that information to this recovery system. It will then tell you that, yes, it can find the transaction. Sometimes it will come up saying it cannot find the transaction. I found that it did this a couple of times, even with this transaction here. So I just kept trying it and eventually it kind of came through. Okay, so there clearly is some kind of issue with this, but it is relatively new. So I imagine that the Binance Smart Chain isn't necessarily connected live. It's probably got some kind of database being built, some kind of check going on in the background. Not 100% sure why, but eventually it came through. So just by kind of retrying over and over again, eventually it worked. And of course, making sure that you have the correct transaction hash and transaction IDs. These are very important. If you don't have those, then of course it's not going to work. If you do not have the correct Coinbase receive address, it's also not going to work. And if you're using the incorrect Coinbase receive address with a correct transaction hash, it's also not going to work. Everything has to match up, right? So you have to make sure you have the right transactions, which is why we used the Binance Smart Chain scanner. So once you kind of go through all these things, it's actually quite straightforward and quite simple, and you can of course recover your funds. But do bear in mind there are fees to be paid, and once you've paid those fees, you have to wait a couple of minutes, and then the funds will arrive in your wallet. It will be sent back to the wallet that originally sent the funds. So also bear that in mind. If you do not have access to the wallet anymore, then you probably are going to be wasting time and money by trying to recover those funds. They'll only send those funds back to the wallet in which sent the funds in the first place. So do bear that in mind as well. Guys, that is going to kind of wrap up today's video. Hopefully you have found this useful, and hopefully if you have got funds stuck on Coinbase, this video tutorial has helped you recover your lost funds. Let me know in the comments down below. Smash the like button and share this if you have found anyone else, or as anyone else has got funds stuck on Coinbase. Guys, why don't you check out this video right here as well and catch up on the latest in the crypto market.